Today I want to talk about the Nintendo Switch 2 and specifically how soon we might be able to expect Nintendo to officially reveal this console to us, especially following the most recent Nintendo Direct, where we now have a better idea of what the rest of their 2024 software lineup looks like, and even the first game of the year in 2025 with Donkey Kong Returns HD. Now, there is not a lot of concrete evidence to go off of with when Nintendo might reveal their upcoming Switch 2 console or whatever they're going to end up calling it, but surprisingly, we do have official confirmation from Nintendo that it will be happening in this current fiscal year. Now, fiscal year is different than calendar year, so it does not mean that Nintendo has to talk about it in 2024, but rather by March 2025, which is when their financial fiscal year ends. That's what they have committed to. And I think the timing of that communication dropping on May 7th at their annual investors briefing actually could tell us a little bit of a picture of when to expect this thing, because they didn't have to announce it as early as they did. They also gave us a heads up that there would be a June Nintendo Direct that we now have already lived through. And I want to take some theories and ideas I have based around the timing of their communication, in addition to some of the rumor mill speculation talk and just straight up leaks that was happening earlier in 2024, suggesting that we might have seen the system, or at least got the confirmation that it was coming to us soon as March of this year, which obviously did not happen. But is there some credence to those previous reports that there was an internal delay of roughly 6 months, and that might give us kind of the rough timeline of what to expect from Nintendo? So we'll get on the same page with all of that. Before we do, make sure you like, subscribe, and turn on your bell notification to join Sunbro Nation if you're new here. And I want to first start off with talking about some of the history around Switch 2 and the potential behind the scenes talk that was going on online, suggesting that Nintendo may have originally had this console planned for a March 2024 reveal and something like a launch period in the holiday season of 2024. And while you can always question the validity of these type of talks whenever there are potential internal shifts that happen behind the scenes, it's natural to question those. It's not fact until Nintendo ever confirms something themselves, but something you can look at with history, with the big well-known Giga leak that happened to Nintendo, was actually this same kind of idea and conversation that happened with the original Switch we have today, which it has been revealed that once upon a time Nintendo did indeed plan on launching the Nintendo Switch in the holiday season of 2016, but chose to push it back 6 months and launch it in March of 2017 instead. That is all documented stuff that you can find yourself through some of the files that were out there in the Giga leak that did indeed happen. And so when you have major publications like Bloomberg, VGC, Eurogamer, amongst many others, all reporting that multiple developers, multiple sources, not one source, not just hearsay, were hearing that Nintendo had internally delayed this and communicated to their publisher that it would be delayed and pushed back until early 2025. That is, in my opinion, worth paying attention to, especially when we have Nintendo coming out and just straight up confirming the existence of their successor to the Switch, and that they would be revealing it this fiscal year in the month of May 2024. And if you think that Nintendo has no plans to talk about this console as soon as the fall, well, why would they have needed to communicate that far in advance that there is indeed a next-gen successor coming? Now, there was a lot of talk about what Nintendo is planning for the year of 2024, because already just looking at their Nintendo Direct schedule, we only saw a partner showcase for them to kick off the year in February and never had any kind of mainline direct communication from them around their first-party studios and the first-party software for the Switch. Well, part of the reason that tweet went out was to confirm the Nintendo Direct happening in June, and Nintendo, of course, went out of their way to say that the Switch successor would absolutely not be at that presentation. We now know that, of course, it wasn't. And while you can debate if Metroid Prime 4 Beyond is maybe a cross-generational title that will see a Switch 2 version, we really didn't see any concrete, for sure, Nintendo Switch 2 games there, other than maybe Prime 4 being launched as a cross-gen title is definitely in the realm of possibility, but I do fully believe the footage we saw was on the original Switch. And what is strange to me personally about the timing of Nintendo confirming that they would be talking about their successor to the Switch in the upcoming fiscal year as soon as May just has to do with the fact that naturally you were telling your consumers and people who could potentially be picking up the current lineup of Switch family of systems this year that you're going to be talking about the next thing soon, and that would naturally weigh on consumers' mind when making the decision about whether now is the time to hop into the Switch family of systems or if they are going to wait until what is next. And I personally think that with a confirmation as early in the year as early May, that gives you kind of the time to set the consumer's expectations that you're going to be seeing it it sometime soon, and we'll likely, in my opinion, potentially see it over the fall. Not to mention, while patterns are not perfect with Nintendo in their history, we did see a similar message confirming the existence of the Nintendo Switch, or the NX at that time, at an annual investors briefing as well. And then of course we ultimately saw them do that first look trailer in October, and we then got a big media blowout in January, and it was on sale in March. Now many have thought, why would Nintendo communicate that their next generation of hardware is coming right around the holiday season, where you could potentially cannibalize your sales of the current family of systems just that much more? And while that is a valid point, I think Nintendo with the Switch has really proved that they don't have to launch in a holiday window to have a banger hit successful console. You just launch it with a flagship franchise like a Legend of Zelda or Mario, and you are more or less good to go. Because for the Switch, we of course did see Breath of the Wild be the big launch day game. We saw them launch it in March of 2017, and then it gave the core gamers a chance that were just going to go pick it up anyway to get all of that wave 1 stock, and they were able to supply stock throughout the rest of the year and kind of ramp right back in to that big holiday sales wave of that year of 2017. And we of course got Mario Odyssey as the big holiday game that year, and Nintendo gave a lot of people a reason to go want to buy a Nintendo Switch with some great exclusive games, and did it completely outside of a holiday sales period. Not to mention that yes, while the Wii U was miserably failing and Nintendo wasn't shooting themselves in the foot as much in the Wii U's generation as much as they would maybe be doing now, I personally think that Nintendo's very aware that with a potential price drop up their sleeves, which they have not done for the Switch family of systems yet, they know they have that in their back pocket. If you just knock $50 off every single current model we have today, or even maybe go a little bit deeper than that, you can absolutely move some more units to the very casual market that doesn't want to go above price or at a premium price for what the consoles are sold for now. And then maybe the Switch 2 is looked at as the more premium machine, but Nintendo will continue to release some software for the 141 million units they have of the current Switch family of systems today. And we also know they committed to a fiscal year forecast of 13.5 million units, which they acknowledged would be very hard to hit. But I do think that with something like a price drop and some bundles, they can still hit that, all while marketing their upcoming Switch successor to launch as soon as something like March. It doesn't have to go down this way, and they could absolutely wait until March to reveal their next gen console next year. But I do think that it's more likely that that 6-month internal delay that Bloomberg and many others were reporting on was indeed a real statement. And the last we've heard from all of those same reporters saying that developers were told to get their games ready for early 2025 said that March was the month. And we have seen Nintendo copy and repeat previous strategies in the past, and I think that this might be the same situation where what happened to Switch 1 is also happening to Switch 2. And if that is indeed the case, it is very exciting because we shouldn't have to wait too much longer. September, October is definitely the time window I am thinking for some kind of first look trailer. And then the question really will become is whether or not we get a fall direct outlining some Switch 2 software, or if Nintendo would opt to skip that direct, kind of tease a game or two in the first look trailer for the Switch 2 reveal, and then we do learn more about them, a lot more about them and their whole launch lineup in the February Nintendo Direct, just a month before that console is potentially ready to start shipping worldwide. And that is a very exciting prospect to me, and ultimately what I hope we see Nintendo do. That said, of course, if it isn't the case, we do have some exciting games to look forward to for the rest of 2024. Zelda Echoes of Wisdom, Mario Party Jamboree, and Mario and Luigi Brothership just this year. Then we know Pokemon Legends ZA is next year. We know Donkey Kong Country Returns HD is our January game for 2025, and now Metroid Prime 4 Beyond confirmed to be once again a Nintendo Switch game that is coming to Switch and out in 2025. We still have a lot to be excited about either way, but that's really where I want to hear from you guys at this point in the video. When do you think we will see Nintendo next talk about their successor to the Nintendo Switch? And do you think it's as soon as this fall, or do you think Nintendo stays radio silent until early next year, maybe that February or March timeframe? And do you think the timing of their tweet revealing the successor to the Nintendo Switch, or rather just confirming that it was the thing they're working on as soon as May of this year, really is telling that they're getting ready to talk about it over the upcoming fall season? Or do you think there is indeed that chance that we are all left waiting until the very last minute in March when they finally drop the big reveal trailer and maybe set it up for a holiday 2025 launch instead? But thanks so much for watching the video today, everyone. Make sure you share all your thoughts and feelings in the comments down below before you leave, regardless if we agree or disagree. Also, make sure you like, subscribe, turn your notification bell, and I will see you guys in the next video.